Okay, so I'm going to just give you a short introduction to sequences, which we need in order to define series, and that's our big last topic. So a sequence is an ordered list of numbers or elements. It doesn't have to be numbers, so it's an ordered list. And so we can represent the list as, for example, a sub 1, a sub 2, a sub 3, and so on, where a sub n represents the nth term in the sequence. So we could have just a list of, for example, the even numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on. And I might represent the nth term as 2 times n because that shows that we're just dealing with a list of even numbers. Usually in a sequence, there is some kind of underlying pattern that we can identify. So in this particular example, the first term is 2, the second term is 4, the third term is 6, and the nth term is represented as 2n. And that's a general expression for every term in the sequence. We're dealing primarily here with infinite sequences, which means that they have no end, right? There is a pattern that we can identify, but the sequence keeps going, the list keeps going. And an infinite sequence is actually a function because it maps to every positive integer a particular term in the sequence, right? Remember that a function is a unique map that takes every element in one set and maps it to exactly an element in a second set. So we can say, the positive integers, right? 1, 2, 3, these are the counting numbers. Each one of these gets mapped to one particular element in our list, in our sequence. And so that's why we can consider a sequence a function, which means that we're going to be able to graph the sequence either in one dimension or in 2 dimensions. So I'll show you what that looks like. So just continuing here with just some ideas about sequences, then we'll deal with some examples. In terms of notation, the way that we write a sequence typically is we use brackets and then we write what the nth term looks like. And we might write here 1 to infinity, which means that we start when n is 1 and it keeps going. So for example, one example of a sequence might look like this. It might be, the elements would be, let's say 1, negative 1, 1, negative 1, 1, negative 1, and so on. And the nth term would be a negative 1 raised to the n plus first power, and that makes it alternate in sign. That is just an example of a sequence. Another example might be, for example, and this time I'll write it as, well, I'll just say, let's call it b sub n, and might be the sequence 1, 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, and you can see here there's a pattern, and this pattern we imagine keeps going, and the nth term would look like 1 over n, and that keeps going. Another way to represent this sequence, right, instead of just a very general b sub n, we might write the nth term, 1 over n. We could leave it like this, or we could write from n equals 1 to infinity. And that would represent this particular sequence, 1, 1/2, 1/3, and so on. I mentioned that we can graph a sequence in 2 dimensions and in 1 dimension. In 1 dimension, that would just mean along, a number line. For example, let's say I have a line that looks like this. Oops, not like that, maybe a little more straight. Let's try again. There we go. I'm using a different application, so it takes me a little longer to figure out all the details here. So, this particular sequence, if we're looking at, if we plot 0 on our number line and we plot 1 on our number line, the sequence 1 over n from 1 to infinity, well, the first term is 1, so I can represent it with just a point on the number line. The second term is 1/2. The third term is a third, so maybe it's over here. Then a fourth, that might be over here, and so on. And you can see that as we keep going, the values, the terms in the sequence are approaching the number 0. That's actually going to be important. We're going to talk a lot more about that. But for now, this is a graphical representation of our sequence. Another way to represent it might be, again, in 2 dimensions instead of just 1 dimension. And we would plot then I'll leave it crooked, we would plot the natural numbers, the counting numbers on for an independent variable. And for, again, graphing the particular sequence 1 over n from 1 to infinity, when n is 1, we know that this is going to be 1. When n is 2, this is a half. When n is 3, we're at a third, a fourth, a fifth, and so on. Now notice that I'm not going to connect these points because sequences are discrete. There's a gap between 1 and a half. I'm not filling in all the gaps. It's not a continuous function that we're dealing with. And so one of the things that we're interested in with sequences is whether they converge or diverge. The particular one that we've been talking about here, converging means are our terms approaching one specific value. And so our b sub n, right, which is just kind of the only example, we've looked at 2 examples, b sub n is converging because all the terms, as n gets larger, the terms get smaller and closer to 0. A sub n, up here, this oscillates back and forth from 1 and -1, and so that's not approaching any one particular value, so we would say that that diverges. So let's try to formalize this a little bit since it's a big idea. So convergence and divergence of sequences. I'll define it and then talk about examples. So if our sequence, again, we'll just in general call it a sub n, converges to a number L, we write, what that means is that if I look at the limit as n gets really large, so further down the list of the nth term, those terms are approaching some specific value L. And we call L the limit of the sequence. So a sequence converges if somewhere down the line, as n gets larger and larger and larger down the line, our values are approaching a specific number. Otherwise, right? Otherwise, the sequence diverges. This is a big idea that we're going to build on a lot. Some examples, right? We know already that this sequence converges, and it actually converges to 0. Why? Well, if we take the limit as n approaches infinity of the nth term that has an expression 1 over n, well, that's just going to go to 0. The values are getting closer and closer and closer to 0 as n gets large, the values in our list. If we have a sequence, the one that we talked about, right, if we start 1, -1, 1, -1, and so on, this one will diverge because as n gets really large, we're approaching 2 different values, not 1, right? And so this is because it oscillates back and forth between 1 and -1, so that will diverge. Another example might be the sequence that is square root of n. If we list some of these terms, square root of 1 is 1, then we have root 2, then we have root 3, then we have root 4, and so on. Root n represents the nth term in our sequence, and the list goes on. Well, if we take the limit as n approaches infinity of this nth term, while this grows really, really slowly, this is going to get larger and larger and larger. And so we will say again that this sequence will diverge. So a sequence converges if in the limit, as n gets very large, it approaches one specific value. It diverges otherwise. Okay, I will follow up with a second video in a little bit. I have to cut this into pieces because of the program that I'm using.